So certain Korean players, they're ahead of a curve. They've already been able to play with themselves at big tournaments. But soon you'll be able to as well with the new AI Ghost. But so, okay, we got some more features explained. Tekken 8 at Gamescom. I think it was a sit-down with Lord Murray, journalist and Murray. So Jukebox is back. Those of you who don't know what that is, it was a mode we had in Tekken Tag 2, which was quite welcome. If you didn't like the music on the stages or in the menu, and in all of the menus, like on online lobby, online menu, a menu itself where you picked ranked or player match, or the main menu if you went to character select, and then all of the stages you could have an individual track of your picking on all of those. And so what I think they're doing here is that Jukebox will allow you to pick and choose from Tekken soundtracks from old games. So me personally, my favorite Tekken track of all time is Ground Zero Funk, which you hear in the intro to my YouTube channel. I would probably put that onto the stage we see in the very first trailer. I still hope we get that stage in the final product. But in trailer 1, where Jin and Kazuya are facing down in the rain, you know, in the storm, that to me is like Ground Zero Funk. I would put that music on that stage. Really hope we get, fingers crossed, we get that stage, by the way. It's so cool. But so, Jukebox is very, very welcome. I'm really happy we get that again. And I'm thinking it's going to be mainly Tekken, old Tekken soundtracks. But that's good enough for me. Like, Tekken 2 soundtrack stands the test of time. I wish they would remix that music because it's so good. A modern touch on Tekken 2 soundtrack. There are so many beautiful melodies and compositions there. Tekken 3 soundtrack is really good. Tekken 4 is so different. It's unfortunate that they did very different things. Tekken 2, Tekken 3, Tekken 4, Tekken 5. But ever since Tekken 6, it's just... it's unfair to say about Tekken 6, because that has Electric Fountain, Azazel's Chamber. It really started with Tag 2, this absolute devotion and descending into dubstep, electronic... and it's very unfortunate. And that's not to say that there aren't a few good pieces of music. Even Tekken 7, I think, Arctic Snowfall, super good. I really like that one. Really like that one. And then Kazumi's theme is good. Hatred, Devil Kazuya's theme is good. Especially Story Mode has a couple of good tracks. And I know a lot of people like Haze. What's it called? That you hear in the intro. It's pretty good. And then let's just say if there are a couple of Heat Haze Shadow. Heat Haze, right. It's good. So Jukebox, very welcome. I like it. I hope all of the Tekken soundtracks are there. And then they give some more information on Arcade Quest, which is where we it's a straight ripoff from Street Fighter 6, where you're hanging out with an avatar and other people in sort of a virtual lobby, where you all walk around as avatars. You've probably tried it out if you tried Street Fighter 6, and you probably tried out Street Fighter 6, because why wouldn't you? It's probably the best 2D fighting game ever made. It's such a good game. But so you can hang out with other players, try and exchange information, greet each other's avatar. Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't a really big deal for me, but I know a lot of people really appreciated that mode. So Bandai Namco, Tekken Studios, straight up ripped that off. And they seem to be taking a lot of cues from Capcom here. But I have to say, I think Capcom did it in a cooler way, where you can, if you want to, you can make your avatar look a little bit more like a serious, cool thing, badass creation, more like a normal person, or you can go super goofy, cutesy if you want. The character creation is actually surprisingly good, I think. I laughed a lot at a lot of the creations, but unfortunately, Tekken Studios always have to take the cute path, and the avatars look like something from a kid's game. I don't know what it's called, this style in Japan, chibi, or... sorry, I'm so uninformed with the Japanese cutesy market culture. But it just looks so childish, so cutesy, so... yeah, it's... I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. But am I happy that they're bringing that mode to us? Absolutely. Bring on more content, bring more forms of interaction between Tekken players, but the avatars themselves to me are like, for God's sakes. Like, I know Tekken has its cutesy style. Bokeh, you are a big bully. Jerk, jerk. Bokeh, Bokeh. I am Alice, I'm an android. Lars, change my battery. It's back there. Yeah, I know we have that stuff, but like, come on. This is the big interaction that players will have, right? But do you have to go this route with it? Can't you have a more cool character creation that's more like Street Fighter? Which resembles more what they do in like the Souls games these days, where it's like very detailed? I don't know. And, okay. It's a place not only for the introduction to Tekken and to the community. You can fight there also against ghosts of yourself or other people. So this is where they will have an AI learning system, I guess, or some form of AI that's going to copy your playstyle. So this is really, really cool, I think. If it's actually well made, you'll be able to play against a copy of yourself, for example, that actually mimics quite a bit your patterns. The choices you make in any given situation. This is actually really cool. So you'll be able to play with yourself. Which I guess certain people have already done at Evo. Have you seen a blanket tech? Sorry. That immediately came to mind. So certain Korean players, they're ahead of a curve. They've already been able to play with themselves at big tournaments. But soon you'll be able to as well with the new AI Ghost in the arcade quest. So I think this is really cool. So now you can also get a chance to play against like a famous player. Granted, it will be an AI learning, you know, that player, but it's still really cool. So you can play against an AI that's trying to mimic Knee or Arslan Ash. Super cool. I really hope it's well made, because this could be a really cool feature. And then story mode for each character is back. And this is a really, really big deal. I think it's like in the past how it was. All the characters should have meaningful interaction in the story mode. So remember when you played Tekken 7 and your character was not in the story? Because story mode featured a journalist no one gave a fuck about, who was your narrator and your main point of view character. Well, I know they didn't have a budget. I know, but dear lord. So everyone else, so basically what? 30 characters plus were relegated to special chapter, which was absolutely useless. Where you got a really shitty cutscene ending that didn't mean anything and was just a load of horse shit. A giant pile of horse shit. So now you're back to what we used to have, meaningful story mode for every single character. So what I'm thinking here is like, does this mean we're not doing a big story mode like NetherRealm Studios style that we did with Tekken 7? Where you get a big campaign, you know, a big old story mode? Or do they mean that we are back to, no big story mode, but instead every character gets its own story mode? With some renders, maybe a big CG ending 30 seconds, and some cutscenes with interactions between the characters. I don't know what you guys would like, but personally, what I hope this is, and I'm probably wrong, it's probably too ambitious, but what I hope this is that there is a big story campaign, which is the NetherRealm Studios thing, and then there's another story mode where you take every character through an arcade battle thing, like you would do in the OG games, and then you get like some cutscenes and then a CG ending. I hope they have both, but probably not. this probably means that you don't have the big scenario campaign. You have story mode for each character. But if they do both, like, holy crap, would that be super amazing. Everyone gets something, and you still have a huge production value, big movie-esque, big story campaign, right? But it's really cool to see that all the characters will be represented now and have their own story, like in previous games. But I'm really hoping they do both. I'd be really happy with that. Does a single Tekken player care about the main story? You have to understand that you and me might not do it, because you're sitting you're literally sitting here 6 years after Tekken 7 dropped. You're sitting here on the biggest Tekken nerd stream discussing the upcoming launch of Tekken 8 in high detail. How many people do you think do that? How big of a chunk of the people who bought Tekken 7? It's tiny, tiny, tiny fraction. Tiny fraction. You have to understand that while story mode is not something you and I are going to spend a lot of time with, we're going to do it, but you have to understand how much that means for people who are going to buy this game and spend a weekend with it and then never play it again. Because we pay $60 for this game, but they also pay $60. You have to make sure the mainstream audience sees value and content in it. The content for them is not learning to become a strong player and play online. They don't care about the competitive aspect too much. They want to play story mode and then maybe play with a friend in a couch. Some versus Kuma versus Alisa, or maybe take 1 or 2 battles online, but that's it. So the story mode is very, very important. You have to understand that NetherRealm Studios, they paved the way for everyone. They understood. We need the cinematics there. We need the production value. We need the content. Content for those people who want to pick up our game for $60, $70 and play it for a weekend. Give them bang for the buck, But of course, please us ultra nerds as well. Give us a really fleshed out fighting game. But so very positive towards this. If it's every character gets their own story mode and it's really well made, I love it. Bring it on. But in a perfect world, you have a NetherRealm Studios big story mode, and then you have special chapters story mode for every character that's still well made. That's in a perfect world. And then Wi-Fi and connections overall will get fine-tuned. So this is really good. We're not happy with where the netcode is after the closed network test. We're going to improve it more and more, which is great. I also opened a conversation on my review on the closed network test video I made, where I said I'd been thinking about it, and I was like, is this Bandai Namco and Tekken Studios being lazy with netcode? How come all the 2D games have flawless rollback netcode? How is this? Are they being lazy and everyone else is, no matter how small the 2D studio is, like Arika, they have a super small game, Fighting Layer EX, they get perfect rollback. Every 2D game has perfect rollback. And I open a small conversation saying, is this actually Tekken Studios being incompetent and everyone else does the job? Or is there a difference here? Is it harder to make proper rollback netcode for a 3D engine, 3D fighting game? Because when I look at other games that use 3D, like for example Counter-Strike, it's not seen as viable to play Japan to US. If you play Street Fighter 6, you can play Japan to US and it's okay. But from what I hear from Counter-Strike players, they're like, fuck no, you can't do that. And we have good netcode, but fuck no, you don't do that. We actually limit our games, or like in Dota and League of Legends, you limit to servers. You even divide the EU into EU East, EU West, right? And some people reached out to me saying, yeah, obviously that's the case. When you send data between 2 people, let's say, or onto a server, the 2D package in a 2D fighting game is much smaller, much less data to send, so it goes faster. But when you have a 3D game, a 3D fighter, you have 3D geometry hitboxes. It's more data to send with every package. So it's a very important distinction. So again, I don't know if those guys are bullshitting me or whatever, but it's certainly something to think of. So when we're quick to judge Harada and the Tekken Studio, it might be that it's very different with a 3D engine. So it might not be so as simple as to say, oh, they're lazy idiots and incompetent. And every 2D fighting game studio, they're passionate. They get the job done. They get the job done. And it's like, it's probably not that simple. But that would be a simple conclusion. Nothing new to chip damage. So apparently chip damage has not been touched. So a lot of people felt that, you know, okay, Claudio and everyone, they kill you when you're blocking. We hate it. That's new. It's shit. I'm very like 50-50 on chip damage. In practice, it seems ridiculous. A few times we've been able to experience it. But again, I like the theory of it. And I like how new it is, really. It's a new way of playing Tekken. And we're very unused to it. But yeah, I guess I want to test that more before I say yay or nay on that one. And I think it's really good that we're not immediately removing chip damage due to this gut reaction from a lot of top players or prominent community members saying, remove it, remove it. And at the same time, those community members say, this is Tekken 7.5. Oh, nothing really changed. It's the same old game. What the fuck is chip damage? I can't block. I get killed by blocking. This isn't my Tekken. So I really enjoy that one. I really enjoy that one. It's funny. But so yeah, I think it's too early to say. But I hope you know, it's looking really good for Tekken 8 right now, I think.